Welcome back to more Sports and Les Levine, the Weekend Winners Edition. I'm Dave Bacon. It's the week between the conference championship games and the Super Bowl. That means the Pro Bowl and the Senior Bowl take center stage, and we are going to head down to Mobile, Alabama to check in on Senior Bowl practices that have gone on all week. Pretty much more important than the games, and joining us is Mac Robinson from BrownsWire.com. Mac, we appreciate the time from down in Mobile. What has the week been like as far as the Browns go, and what have you heard about the Browns and the big contingent that is in Mobile for the Senior Bowl from the Cleveland Browns?
Well, for the Browns, you saw the news that came up of the possible extension talks with Rashard, Rashard Higgins, and Greg Robinson. When it comes to Rashard Perriman and Higgins, I expect that to kind of go through here and kind of go through quickly. But when it comes to the Greg Robinson talks, that's what's going to be more interesting in my opinion, because Robinson played well down the stretch, but he hasn't done this in his career yet. So it's something that I wonder if they're going to end up paying him what he thinks he's going to be worth, or compared to what the tackle market might be saying for him when he hits the market.
And again, remember, Greg Robinson, former number 2 overall pick. Let's get on to some of the college guys. This is the first extended look that a scouting department and the Browns and everybody gets a look. Who have been some of the guys in your mind that have stood out at the practices that you have been to?
For me, I think, well, to give a little bit of context, I've been kind of focusing on the defensive line and the offensive line while I've been down here a little bit. Got a chance to see some of the wide receivers as well, but some of the big guys that stood out to me, Dalen Mack, defensive tackle from Texas A&M, 6'1", so a little bit lower center of gravity, but he's been doing really well, having a lot of punch for him. Also, Montez Sweat is somebody who I would keep an eye on for the first round for Browns fans, because the guy's a big-time edge rusher, looks the part. From the second that he walked across the stage in weigh-ins, he looked like he was ready to go. But he had a few times where he has a very strong stiff arm, and that allows him to kind of make a nice secondary move from there. But on top of that as well, just a few other names I was looking through. I know local guy John Kaminsky is somebody who has been kind of making a little bit of a name for himself down here as somebody who came up from D2. I talked to him a little bit during media day, and he wanted to make sure that he has a chip on his shoulder. He doesn't want to be that guy who's known as just that D2 prospect who's just trying to belong. He wants to make sure that he's known as one of those top guys that you have to keep an eye on here going forward. A couple other names, too. Deebo Samuel, wide receiver out of South Carolina, has stood out, as well as Anthony Johnson, wide receiver from Buffalo. Andre Dillard, the tackle from Washington State. He's a distinct possibility for the Browns as well, to take over as a left tackle prospect. Just some of the other guys, too, that I have notes on real quick. Terry Maclaurin, wide receiver from Ohio State, has stood out big time here. He's looked really well. He's looked really good. He's impressed. And then Andy Isabella is another one who has really stood out as well.
And Isabella is an interesting kid. He's from Mayfield. 1AA UMass, was a finalist for the 1AA Player of the Year, a finalist for the Biletnikoff Award as the best wide receiver in all of college football. And it's now FBS Football Bowl Championship as opposed to 1AA. Smaller Division I schools. What have you heard about Isabella? There was a lot of buzz early in the Pro Bowl practice week about him. What has stood out about him?
Yeah, for Isabella, a lot of it is the quick footwork that he has. A little bit, he might get a little bit carried away with it in the short routes, trying to go ahead, break some ankles, as some people would say too. But for him, a lot of it is getting that down. His speed is top notch. He came in a little bit shorter than what people were expecting. Listed at 5'10", coming in, ended up at 5'8". But he looks the part. The only thing is that for him, it's kind of working on that footwork a little bit, but he definitely has the speed and he looks the part on the field. I will say that for sure.
Mac Robinson, we appreciate it, from BrownsWire.com, checking in from Mobile, Alabama, and that Senior Bowl game will be this weekend, Saturday. Mac, we appreciate it. I'm sure we'll check back in